In a recent conversation with Ta-Nehisi Coates, Democratic darling Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez asserted that no one ever makes $1 billion. They take $1 billion. In other words, they steal it from its rightful owners. Men like Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos simply sit on their couches sipping bourbon, watching the money pour in. Meanwhile, their poor and exploited workers do all the real work. But what does it really take to start a business? What exactly does it take to be the chief executive officer of a multi-billion-dollar company? Or any company for that matter? And has AOC given it the slightest bit of thought? Are leaders really necessary? And should they earn more than their subordinates? Let's find out.
You sat on a couch while thousands of people were paid modern-day slave wages, and in some cases real modern-day slavery, depending on where you are in terms of food production. You made that money off the backs of undocumented people. You made that money off of the backs of black and brown people being paid off under a living wage. You made that money off of the backs of single mothers. So no one ever makes $1 billion. You take $1 billion.
Telling people what they want to hear will always give you an audience. And what low-income earner doesn't want to hear that they actually deserve more than they're making? There's no doubt that there are in fact millions of people who perform arduous tasks for long hours in order to make a wage that barely covers the cost of rent, groceries, daycare, and other costs of life. There's a lot that could be said about how government regulations increase the cost of doing business and therefore result in less wealth all around. But right now, I'd like to just focus on AOC's assertion that no one actually earns $1 billion. That in order to be rich, you have to steal it from the people who work under you. This implies that business leaders don't actually contribute anything of value to a business. But of course that would mean that if all CEOs, managers, and owners just disappeared today, their earnings could be distributed among the remaining employees and the business would just continue as usual. Does AOC really believe this? Has she ever tried to start her own business or seen firsthand what responsibilities come with leadership in a business? According to smallbusinessadministration.gov, there are 10 steps to starting a business. Conduct market research, write your business plan, fund your business, pick your business location, choose a business structure, choose your business name, register your business, get federal and state tax IDs, apply for licenses and permits, and open a business bank account. Now, if that list didn't scare you away from the idea of starting a business altogether, it should at least have made you realize that starting a business isn't something you just do one day after having an idea about a product or service. It takes a great deal of research, planning, refinement, replanning, and while you're doing this, you're probably working another job as well, since no one's going to pay you for planning to start a business. But let's assume you've gone through all the steps. You've written the ultimate business plan. You've secured creditors that believe in your vision and are willing to loan you the substantial amounts of money that it will take to rent out a location, pay the taxes and licensing fees that government demands for your right to start a business, and hire a small group of people that will fulfill the functions of your business. With all the necessary documentation in hand, you head out the following morning and begin the task of running your business. Sounds great, right? But as many new business owners discover, despite all your hard work, you now have a new problem. No one knows about your business, and it's kind of difficult to get customers if no one is aware that your product or service is available. So you engage in marketing. Maybe you decide to run ads on Facebook, or put flyers up around the city and in local coffee shops. But when you do that, you quickly receive a phone call from the local police letting you know that solicitation on other people's property will not be tolerated. Unless, of course, you've already made an agreement with the city or the private property owners where you've posted your advertisements. And I'll let you know right now, Hardly any of them are going to let you do that for free. So tack on marketing expenses to the list of other costs of starting your business. But let's suppose the marketing works. Customers start coming to you and you start making money. Glorious! But don't get too excited. When you inventory the cash register at the end of the day, you'll have to do some accounting. Gross income might look exciting, but as the business owner, you have to consider what your actual profit is. Your employees and creditors are going to insist on being paid, regardless of how many sales took place throughout the month. It sure would be great if more consumers had decided to buy more stuff, right? But you quickly discover that despite what politicians like AOC and Bernie Sanders might say, a business can't actually force people to want what they're selling. If customers walk in and out without buying anything, too bad for you. If you made a profit at all, it probably isn't going to be much. And if you want to increase your sales, you'll have to be very smart about what you do with those profits. But you're not out of the woods yet. That night, as you log on to the internet, you discover a new problem. You've just received your first review on Yelp, and it is not a good one. It seems that at about 10 o'clock that past morning, when you were in your office, a customer came into the building and saw Joey, your custodian, smoking a cigarette indoors. The customer was appalled that the business owner would allow for this kind of conduct and won't ever be doing business with you again, leaving a 1-star review so that everyone knows it. Wait, you cry out in frustration. Joey isn't allowed to do that. I'll have a talking to him in the morning. And as the business owner, you probably should. But you've just discovered the most important part of being a leader. That is, as the person in charge, you are responsible for everything that happens or doesn't happen regarding your business. If your employees are rude to customers and those customers complain, you are responsible for rectifying the situation. If you allow this behavior to continue, it will become part of the business's culture, and your reputation will not incline others to do business with you. Even if you were upstairs in your office and had no idea what was occurring at the time, it's your business, and you will be held accountable for the conduct of your employees. Before long, you'll also be faced with the stark reality that only about 1/4 of new businesses go on to survive for 15 years or more. In other words, no matter how solid your business plan, you as the leader must be prepared to accept the possibility that your business will fail, and you'll be responsible for dealing with the fallout, which includes paying off any debts that were incurred by your business. If you think employees are mad when they find themselves laid off and without a paycheck, imagine being a business owner whose business failed, but still has to pay his employees their final paychecks, as well as pay back all the creditors for the debts he incurred starting the business. But suppose you're one of the few whose business really does succeed in the long term. As time goes on, profits increase, and you decide to grow your business. You can't possibly oversee every aspect of your business the larger it gets, which means you'll have to create various levels of management and hire people to fill those positions. These individuals will derive their authority from you and assume responsibility for executing your vision. But so long as they remain under your leadership, you cannot delegate the actual responsibility of the business to them. If one of your lower-level managers makes a mistake that costs the business, you remain responsible, whether you knew about it at the time or not. It was you who put them into their position of leadership. And again, as the leader, you are responsible for everything the business does or fails to do. With all this considered, who out there actually wants to be the chief executive officer of a business while making the same wage that your janitors and assembly line technicians do? I mean, CEOs don't do any of the actual work, right? Undoubtedly, even low-level employees work hard, and their work is necessary for continued success of a business. They're hired for a specific purpose, and are expected to fulfill that purpose. If business leadership wants to keep its employees around, hard work must be rewarded and low-quality work must be penalized. With increased levels of responsibility, employees will expect higher wages, and business leadership must keep this in mind if they want their businesses to succeed. However, if it is increased responsibility that leads employees to expect higher wages, what would you expect the leader, the person responsible for everything a business does or fails to do, to earn? If anyone thinks that the CEO of a billion-dollar company doesn't do anything but sit on his couch while the money rolls in, they know nothing about leadership. Regardless of whatever specific tasks may lie with the CEO day to day, the CEO's ultimate function is business responsibility. This does mean they get the credit when the business does well, but it also means they get the blame when the business does poorly. If you're a low-level employee who thinks that your business's leadership stole everything they have from you, my question to you is this: are you prepared to assume responsibility for the business and all that that entails? And further, what do you think would happen to the business tomorrow if no one in the business was responsible? Think about it. And that is my 2 cents. Take it for what it's worth. Everyone, please take a moment to subscribe to my 2 cents on the BitTubers and BitChute platforms. YouTube has shown that it is no longer a viable platform for independent content creators, and we need to build a presence elsewhere before the inevitable censorship comes. The links to both profiles are available in the BitTubers tab on my website, my2centsvideos.com. Thanks everyone for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, as well as hit the bell to receive notifications so that you never miss an upload. And if you're a fan of my channel, please consider supporting me on Subscribestar, Bitbacker, or Patreon to receive special rewards. All links can be found in the About section of my website, my2centsvideos.com.